Hi everybody and welcome to TEMA Talk, the fast-paced B2B free zone with smart, fun and educational conversations with entrepreneurs and business owners sharing their stories and insights designed to help you succeed. Joining us today is our very special guest, Ted Miller III. Ted is the CEO of TM3. Ted's worked with over 25,000 entrepreneurs in 24 different countries to double their sales in 12 months. Yeah, count them, 12 months. He's not only helped them, he's used those skills internally, doubling sales in 3 years in a row with his senior business partners, the late Chet Holmes, and of course the amazing one and only Mr. Tony Robbins. Ted's mission is simple. It's to share with fellow entrepreneurs that you can build your business that you really want, even if you feel that the goals are so audacious, such as doubling your sales. Now, others have said that's not possible, yet over the last decade, he's squashed that myth time and time again. Ted hangs out in Portland, Oregon with his wife, Stephanie. He really upgraded on that one, and their 2 children. Welcome to TEMA.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on TEMA Talk. I'm excited for this show and the contribution you're having to the entrepreneur community in this time more than ever. It's the entrepreneurs that bring us out of traumas, problems, struggles. So
every time, you know,
every time, mate.
They always come for us last, right? We're always last. The entrepreneurs are always last, but it's always the entrepreneurs that get us out of any economic crisis. You can go through history as far as you like. Am I right, Ted? You can just go back as far as you want.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it sounds cheesy to say out loud, but I genuinely believe that's my purpose in life. I believe I can touch every human being on this planet vicariously through 1 million conscious entrepreneurs. They're really good heart-centered entrepreneurs like you. And if I do another million, but intentionally with the really good guys, I think we could touch everyone's life. And yeah, it was great. It was great to have you on the workshop last night. It's awesome.
It was great. I enjoyed being there. Thanks for inviting me. Now, let's get down to it because we've got some serious stuff to talk about. The whole world has gone Zoom crazy. So first of all, don't we all wish we'd brought a few shares in Zoom just like 3 months ago, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Everybody's either sitting at home now or sitting in their car, or they're not at work, they're not at their normal place, whatever normal is going to be after this, I don't know, but their historic place of work, they're all on Zoom, whether it be conferencing with their colleagues, whether it be watching this, we hope. So how can we leverage Zoom to make sales? In essence, how can we leverage this entire program and make it happen?
You bet. Sure. So, and that was our focus last night. We dove really deep into that. And I think because, I mean, this is not new. It's not like, sharing communication on tools like Zoom's new. I had, before I hired, right after I hired Jay Abraham and met my future business partner, Chet Holmes, I spent 40 grand of money I couldn't afford. And I took that intellectual property to learn.com, the online education company. So that was when we were dial-up modems. Remember, 28.8 kilobyte per second modems. Yeah. Back then, we were selling solutions on how to stream multimedia on dial-ups. Right. Now I've got a 1 gig per second download speeds and upload speeds on a fiber optic line to my home. Right. So things have changed. What has significantly changed now, I believe, is what happened to me in 9/11. The hand has been forced. You have no other option. You must find a way to innovate your sales and marketing model. Otherwise, you're going to become a statistic. And a lot of people became statistics in 9/11. My model was a seminar business, Carl. I mean, Chet and I, when we merged back up, we decided to team up and go take on the world. He had been frustrated with the seminars because, he spent 260 days of the year on the road. He felt like unless he was hustling and on the road, speaking and trying to sell his consulting stuff, he wouldn't make any living. And that about killed him. He had 1/3 of his colon removed after he had his first bout with cancer. And me, you're right, I married up big time. And when I met her, I knew she was the one. I knew the night I met her, I asked her what she's doing the next 90 years of her life. She thought it was a pickup line, and then she looked at me and realized it's worse than a pickup line. I was serious. But we pivoted in 9/11 and went virtual, got rid of the brick and mortar. It was just expensed. I did that because I'd gone broke before. I didn't declare bankruptcy. I paid all my bills, but damn, if it wasn't expensive, that 5,000 square foot office and telephones and internet, chairs and all this overhead, that was, when times got tough, it was me. It was hanging me financially.
Right.
And all my other staff members were making money. I was the only one going backwards. I said, there's a better way. And so I hope people embrace the power of innovation that this gift is. Let's call it what it really is. It's a gift. You had a chance to innovate before this and you chose not to.
Right.
So I think God has a wonderful sense of humor and gives us little gifts in a form called pain. And some of us just got hit in the forehead with a sledgehammer.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but the fact of the matter is that the vast majority of people don't know what to do. So again, let's use your gift analogy, right? They've been given the box. They've opened the box and they've gone, oh, that looks nice. Oh, I can talk to Karl, or I can talk to Ted. But now when you say to them, well, how are we going to leverage this? And so, the wheels don't come off, everything still keeps rolling. How do they do that?
Well, it's going to sound trite, but I've learned trite statements are worth repeating because often they're trite because they're true. And that's just simply stop freaking selling. Most people suck at it.
Yep.
Just stop selling and start adding value first.
Yep.
And I believe the best way in this current condition to add value is through education.
Right. Tell, not sell.
Yeah. Genuinely, just educate them. Because here's the problem. Here's the truth of why, if you're struggling, why you struggled. Things were good and you got complacent. It's just a hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth. People were able to be mediocre salespeople. Hi, my name is, this is what I do. Don't you want some of my stuff? Because I'm the best out there, wink, wink. And that shit worked. And that caused a major problem. It allowed people to continue with weak marketing that was based on something that was effective 30 years ago, which is stand out in your corner, scream out your unique selling proposition, hoping you're going to cut through the clutter.
Right.
And I want to do a shout out to my late business partner. He passed away several years ago, but I cite this. And if you want it, you can reach out to me through tedmiller3.com and I'll send you his chapter on this topic for free. Chapter 4 talks about education-based marketing. So shout out to him. He was really helping bring this to the forefront of most companies. He brought it into people's consciousness that you're going to be 9 times more likely to get a human being to engage with you, to respond to any marketing method, no matter what the media, if you promise to educate them on something of value. And I mean it. You can be 900% better ROI by offering to educate them than offering them a cure to this conundrum. You could literally have a cure and people will be less likely to want to hear cures of diseases or issues. They'd rather learn something of profound value to a 9-fold effect.
Okay. So now I've taken that on board. I've dutifully made all my notes. Ted says do this, so that's what I'm doing. Okay. So the next thing now is I get to my Zoom street corner and everybody's there. It's not just the gang. The whole world is there.
The whole world's on Zoom, but they're not in your Zoom room.
Right. So how am I going to get them to my Zoom room? How am I going to cut through all of that noise? How am I going to make my message stand out? How am I going to make my story, my offer, my education? How am I going to cut myself from the herd?
I'll tell you, don't be so damn romantic about your brilliance. What do I mean by that?
Ted.
Yeah, seriously. Don't get so romantic about how freaking brilliant you are. This is what people do. They do it all the time. Last night, we heard this brilliant doctor, Greg Olson, I believe, Newport Beach, California. Shout out. So really brilliant guy. Now he could go, I know the thing that makes the world a difference to my patients. I can help them with things that they've been struggling with a long time. I mean, much quicker than they ever even thought possible. So he could talk about that thinking they give a shit about that, and they don't. You could talk about how brilliant you are. I mean, I've been around for a while. I've worked with some really brilliant names. I mean, I mentioned Chet Holmes also, and you mentioned I partnered with Tony Robbins, who pioneered a thing called Business Mastery. Jay Abraham, after I hired him, later we partnered. Jay Levinson, Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank. So I've seen many great people, and you're one of those true titans that understand how to help entrepreneurs become more effective. So the big mistake you can make is try to make Karl Gibbons the star by talking about whatever it is you think you do. The better way to get them on your Zoom is to make an offer to teach them. Teach them what? Thank you for asking. Around your unique selling proposition. So the thing that you do to help people get a 300% increase in an ROI, like because you help them in so many facets to increase their profit margins, to increase transaction value and frequencies of purchase. You're so really effective at that. Instead of talking about what you do, that's the what, right? No one's really caring about the what. And they might lie and say they care about the how. What they really care about is the experience and the way they're going to feel in this moment when you're talking about the topic.
Right.
So unpackage that in a way that's going to get someone on your Zoom. Learn how to, so whatever it is, the carrot is that you think you have, increase your, profits by 300% in the face of this downturn economy, quickly, fast. I mean, in the next 90 days, guaranteed. Offer to educate them around things of that nature, and way more people are going to show up on the Zoom, be in Karl's world, and be asking Karl consistently questions about, hey, I want to increase my profits too. Hey, you're talking about making that happen in 90 days? I'm here because you guaranteed it, but I don't believe you. They're the best ones, Karl, because if they were hard to get on board, then it's going to be really hard to get them to stop being your raving fan, because once you convince them of it, like what we had yesterday, I've had several of my raving fans in that workshop. How touching was that they hijacked my whole show. They had me shut the hell up. And for like 5 minutes, they talked over each other about how great their experience has been.
Right.
Isn't that? And that was in my Zoom. And people are paying to be a part of that. And it was supposed to be my event. I thought I was supposed to be running the show.
Right.
But if I could just put my ego on the shelf for a minute, they had such profound breakthroughs. They wanted to share about it because they talked about what they have been learning. Not so much about how great I am, about their personal transformations. So we'll just back it up and unpack it. What did I say? Stop making you sound like you're the hero of the story, citing Joseph Campbell's. You know who's done a really good job talking about Joseph Campbell's material is Daniel, don't tell him I forgot his name, Miller, something Miller. He's done that. Donald Miller or Daniel Miller. He's taken the hero's journey. He talks about how to get that into a message that conveys. Right. He's done that really well. So make your prospects the hero. And the way you do that is you educate them on that. These are the small distinctions. So give me an example of a client that reached out to you on one of your recent shows, or maybe one of your clients. Give me an exact situation. What do you think their conundrum was?
Okay. I recently had a major interior design company down here in Florida reach out to me. They had the foresight to see that there was going to be a realignment of the economy, and of course, nobody foresaw the coronavirus. So they did have the foresight to see that, but when they came to me based on my reputation and stuff that I'd done for similar people in a similar industry, they wouldn't push the button. They would not push the button.
Well, okay. So let's back it up. Were they trying to target B2B or B2C?
They were trying to B2C predominantly.
Okay. So they're trying to go to an end consumer. So if you're going to do some kind of fashion redesign, there are triggered moments in life when you say, I'm going to invest heavily in a home. And we know when it is. It's usually when you're freaking moving.
Yeah.
So one of the greatest ways for them to use a Zoom is they could have targeted all the top realtors and or developers. So they could do joint venture partnerships to educate around the 5 biggest mistakes you make when you make the biggest investment you've ever made in yourself, which is your home. And then these are the 5 most common mistakes you made. Looking back in hindsight, you say, I shoulda, coulda, and shoulda, coulda, woulda. How make sure you don't should on yourself. Right. And do a play on the shit on yourself. And then suddenly people are in their Zoom because they're making a big investment and they're going to learn what these 5 distinctions are, because you want to trust your contractor as far as you can throw them, because what that contractor at most has a degree in, maybe engineering. Right. Probably not. He probably learned from an early childhood how to swing a hammer. Yeah. And so suddenly they get a flood of people. Now, what if if you're selling your consulting services, you can back up and even talk about how they could even reach their audience more efficiently.
Yeah.
They could, if they're not buying your service, it could have been a matter of whatever their story was. Was their story money? Was their story they didn't have enough faith, enough trust? What do you think it was?
I personally believe there was a little bit of trust and there was a little bit of arrogance. I think they could see their own way through it, and they didn't need us.
They, then might not. They might need to
go
through that pain on their own. So 2 ways I've learned to deal with that in the same space, because you and I are very similar business models. And my whole team, I tell my team this all the time. I just told Val this morning on a celly before the show. I told her this. I said, you can't kick them through the door. Just because they absolutely need you and you have enough self-awareness, do not kick them through the door, which is she could have pulled out some high-level skills, convinced someone to pull their credit card out and made that happen. But if you got to work so hard to get them to walk through the door, you got to work with them that hard to get them to take action. You got to work that hard. So I said, you don't have martyrdom stamped in your forehead.
Correct. Agree.
So your job is to stand at the door and walk through the door with them, but you don't kick them through the door, because here's the funny thing. You kick them through the door, it'll work. They'll have an increase in profits or revenue. And then when they stop doing the thing that got them the success, who are they going to blame?
Yep.
You.
I hear you. Yeah.
Right. Yep. So you don't kick them through the door, but
they've got to want to take the journey. They're going
to want to take the journey. And I'm going to tell you probably maybe something you didn't expect to hear on your show, but I got to give you a little love because you asked for it. It's the rapport breaking is probably because if their ego postured up, it's because human beings, when you call it an ego, what it really is a need. Tony Robbins taught me this best more than anyone else. It's a need to meet significance. And the problem with significance is only one individual. 2 people can't be significant at the same time. Right. One is going to be significant. Significance is the antithesis to connection and love. So when you lack rapport, I know somewhere unknowingly, probably not even your intention to do so, but poor marketing and salesmanship has made yourself feel more significant than them, a superior posturing, if you will. Okay. And then what happens is the more you posture yourself up that you're the guru, the more you've broken rapport, which is the foundation why they do business. This is where education-based marketing will shift it. Right. They'll no longer feel like they're being sold, because you don't have to say, look at me. I've been on this show. I've been on that show, every top guru, and you've interviewed some of the best. And a lot of people have called you the best. Yeah. If you say that, you're bragging. Right. If you educate them and they put you on that pedestal and say, look at all that I learned from Karl. Karl's even worked with Ted Miller. He had Stephanie Vaughn in his book. And they start citing like that. Suddenly, now they put you on that pedestal. Right. They'd have to be a hypocrite to tear you down off of that. Right. It's a major difference on how you can get rapport.
Great insight. Great insight. Ted, when we last spoke, you shared 5 strategic innovations, and share them with our viewers, because I thought they were great.
Oh, thanks. Well, I'll share one.
Okay.
I'll share one. And then they can email me if they want the rest, or go to my site and reach out to me at tedmiller3.com. So the one that I like is New Voices.
Yes.
And we were trying to figure this out. I mean, back in the day when it was just me and Chet and there was no mega New York Times bestseller yet, and we're trying to make it all work, right?
Yeah.
And we had our own COVID. It was just called 9/11. Yeah. And we're struggling for years. Like when you've done something really brilliant, you've had a big following, people always talk about the good times, right? You partnered with Tony Robbins. Oh my gosh, what's he really like? They talk about all the good stuff. They don't talk about the years of going brokenness. Yeah. Like it's the truth, like $3 million, no one's really getting wealthy. And most of that's all just going out to staff and marketing, and we hadn't cracked our code yet. And here's what really helped us. We got committed to education-based marketing, but we allowed new voices. We let our egos not dictate our trajectory. We started finding new people to get into our weekly workshops to help us with new innovation. We were allowing ourselves to recognize our level of thinking and our capacities got us into this situation. So we're not enough to get us out of this. We need new, fresh perspectives. So we would get our newest hires into our key executive meetings to bring innovative ideas and genuinely listen to them. Elon Musk is doing this right now. He gets people to just flippantly send a tweet, and he builds an entire product line as a division of one of his companies just based on those insights. He's willing to crowdsource these ideas, if you will. And so, Think and Grow Rich taught us that 2 or more people with like-minded focus tap into infinite intelligence. So we leverage that in our weekly mandatory meetings to find new innovative solutions as new voices will bring a new perspective. And that could be strong enough of a distinction to go from I'm struggling and I'm stuck to a minor breakthrough. And we did that. That got us on our Sirius satellite radio programs and helped us double sales 3 years in a row by leveraging new voices. So I wonder who could be a new voice in your life. Could it be one of your newest staff members? Could it be maybe a vendor? I told the story with you last night, how we used a media buyer to help us give feedback on how to have our ad become memorable enough so people can follow the call to action. And we just changed our phone number we're using from 800-940-4052. And we ran that $1,000 on that, and it didn't get the response we needed. But he helped us learn that the way you say numbers makes it more memorable because you only have 6 or 7 digits to remember as a short-term memory bank in a human brain. So we said 800-940-4052, and it cracked our code. And that one thing got us to where we were going from 3 millionaire next year, 7. Year after that, 7 to 17. Year after that, 17, 34 million. So we 10x'd in 3 years because we allowed new voices in our world to give us distinctions. I hope that's her.
It's a great story. And I encourage everybody to reach out to Ted to get the other 4 that he hasn't told you about, because they're just brilliant. But here's the key though, surely, Ted, it's not just a new voice. It's listening to the new voice, right?
Yeah.
It's not, because we all get stuff come in, but it's filtering that voice and listening to that voice.
Usually people are listening to voice and they're reactive. The difference that we had is we had an end goal in mind. And then we said, okay, if this is the outcome. So I want to be really clear. Most people are failing in business right now because they've never decided to determine what success looks like in advance.
Right.
They're trying to react, and they're saying shit like more. They want more money, more sales, more staff, they want more retention. They want more isms, and that's inflammation, and that's a disease. What you really want is what you want, but most haven't declared it. So we knew what we wanted. We had a clear outcome, and then we got honest about our intention. What's our intention as we're shooting towards that outcome? That allowed us to stay in alignment, that anyone we led into our sphere was hyper-focused on that particular outcome. And we didn't have to worry about their dramas or their opinions or their politics or whatever issue, because that bubbles up in times of stress. They were only helping us reach this target faster, quicker, and easier.
Right. Great stuff. Thank you for sharing. Ted, we're entering into the last 10 minutes of the show. So what I want to do is I want to ask you just a few quick questions, bit of fun, bit of serious. Let's see what's going on. So how do you think business is going to change after we come out of hibernation, after the lockdown?
Well, we're not locked down, by the way. So watch the language that we use. No one has been locked down. It's been suggested conversations, but watch the language we use, because you'll act in accordance to it. Right. So we're growing, we're innovating. So it's going to be like everything that's happened before. 2007, 9/11, just go back over time. History repeats itself. And if we are going to learn from our history, what we know is that pressure and noise is going to allow us to do what? So what happened after 2007? How good has it been? Right. It got really good.
Yeah.
And why did it get good? It forced us. Yeah. And what did we see major changes on? Amazon. What they do? Made life easy. So now someone will make something easier. An innovator, an entrepreneur will find a way to solve someone's problems faster and dematerialize. So if I were going to say the single most important thing, this is going to force is us to dematerialize our businesses. Like Uber doesn't have to own cabs. they have a huge business. Like Airbnb doesn't have an inventory of physical real estate to be in business. Alibaba doesn't have to have inventory to be in business. They found a way to dematerialize. I think that's what's going to come out of this.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. What's the best piece of business advice you were ever given to date?
Oh, wow. I thought I was going to say one thing and my dad's voice popped in my head. He passed away decades ago.
Right.
But when I was really young, I wasn't like my children. They're getting A's, they're getting B's. I was a very intelligent guy that really wanted to stick a finger to the man. I had long hair, rebel-esque. I was like, why do I need to go get A's to prove to them how smart I am? So I just limped in on a test, aced the test, and got C's on everything. Yeah. And my father came up to me once. He goes, you know what your problem is? He goes, this will haunt you forever. Is you become a big fish in a small pond. Right. So in this little town, you look around, you're a smart kid. No one thinks you're smart because you look like a stoner, but he knew I never smoked any joints or wasn't doing anything stupid. I was just trying to get out of a ghetto. Yeah. And he was kind enough to move us out of that ghetto. And we lived in a safer neighborhood, but we're still always talking about being broke. And he goes, if you become the big fish in a small pond, you're always going to stay the biggest fish.
Yeah.
He goes, find a bigger, better environment. Yeah. Find people that are ahead of where you're at such an exponential level. You have something to grow into, because if you stop growing, your flame that's in your heart will die. And boy, people, it's the best thing that I've ever done. And it came from my father, who technically, if you want to look at him financially, no one's going to say he was the biggest financial success, but he saw that. And he was smart enough to give that to his son. And so people are like, why are these big names you partner with? Because of my father in my ear. Go find someone who's figured something out you haven't figured out yet, and go, instead of just pay the money, which I used to do, I say, I'll partner with them. So I'll not just learn from them. We'll make money along the way.
Okay. Which words or phrases does Ted overuse the most?
Polarizing words: obnoxious, awesome, anything on the extreme. Hell, shit, and ass is probably the number one thing I hear about from hyper-conservative personalities that come to my show or my events. All right. So I'll say hell, shit, and ass.
Okay. Does Ted want to be in control or in charge?
You're giving me an either or.
Oh,
and I want to be, and my answer immediately in my head was neither. Well, I know I'm in charge, so that's never a question if I'm going to be, because I know I control three things: my focus that I have in my head, right? My actions I take in the face of challenges like now, and the meanings I give every situation. So I already know I'm in charge, so I don't look for it.
Okay.
So I'm going to say neither. Just keep reminding myself those are the three things that dictate my outcome. And those are things you absolutely always control.
Right. What's Ted's greatest extravagance? What's Ted's treat when nobody's looking, or even when people are looking? What the hell?
Well, I'm going to give you what you want, because I went to my family. I'm like, it's such a cheesy thing to say, but it really is. We hung up. We had a great time last night, and I wanted to go just celebrate, because I gave it my all. I laid it on the line. I didn't hold anything back, and I just wanted to anchor that moment in. So I took a Porsche 911 turbo, souped up. I mean, I'm way over 450 horsepower, between 3,200 and 5,200 RPMs. And I went for a little cruise. I found a new road that's not trafficked much. It's got nice sweeping turns. And I burned up some serious rubber. And that 15 minutes had me jamming to Stevie Ray Vaughan, taking a corner like, I was on rails. That's it for me, man. That's meditation, is if I'm going so fast, time is warped and I feel like everything's nice and slow.
Who's your favorite hero of fiction?
Hero in fiction? Fiction hero? I mean, I always thought Superman, right? He seemed to keep his virtues down the middle. Every other hero seemed to bend their virtues in the face of adversity, and that guy stayed the course down the middle. He didn't go either way extremes.
All right. So last one. If this program could connect you with any one person, anyone, king, queen, pauper, prince, potentate, dictator, anybody, who would it be?
The hungry entrepreneur. The entrepreneur that is been in business for a while, probably got 10 years underneath their belt, they're committed to want to grow their company, but they've already put in the sweat equity before. And in fact, maybe even that 100-hour work weeks showed up and cost them a marriage or some physical ailments. And they're still hungry to want to grow, but they know there's a smarter, faster, easier way to do that. That person, that's who I'm committed to.
So tell them, Ted, how are they going to call you? Where are they going to find you? How are they going to get hold of you?
Right now, they've got a small window of time to be able to reach me before this whole brand thing that I've got going on. I'm building a lot of momentum right now. And at some point, it's going to be hard to reach me. And I know they're going to end up getting stuck talking to salespeople. But right now, I've been able to get, and I work really hard at it, I stay up late doing it, to the responses at tedmiller3.com. I got a predominant button pretty much everywhere. It says talk with Ted, talk with Ted, talk with Ted.
Right.
I don't know how much longer I can keep up with it. My wife thinks I'm a little crazy, and I'm probably pulling some weird hours to make it. So excuse me if I reply a little one-eyed open, but I will. tedmiller3.com, and you can have a conversation with me so you don't feel like I've just flippantly delegated you away.
And if he starts to hang out on you guys, tell him Karl sent you. Say Karl sent you.
Right? Listen, if Karl sends you, you are a friend of a friend, like treated with as if I had white gloves on. Promise.
That's it. 30 minutes of business banter and badinage have just flown by. Thanks to our guest, Ted Miller III. We always love talking to you, Ted. Thank you to the team at Guerilla Media for making all of this happen. To you for watching and listening. And don't forget to visit TEMA's Video Vault of Wisdom at thirdeyemanagement.com, where we share all the other TEMA Talk episodes with strategies and tactics on how to grow your business. So until the next time, stay safe, stay happy, stay in touch, but most importantly, stay profitable. And we'll see you soon. Take care.